Hey, dog. Hey, girl. Let's see. All right, guys. How are you today? All 0 people online today. I am here live in York, South Carolina, the greatest city in the country. And I'm here to answer any questions you might have about life insurance. So, if you have any questions about life insurance, feel free to hop on the channel and ask those questions. There's no spam, there's no pressure, there are no lies, and that might be something you're interested in. If you would like the spam, pressure, or lies, I would recommend filling out one of those online quote forms. Those are really useful for all of the above. I am trying to get to the chat here if there are any questions. There we go. So I will go to and see what questions we have here. Let's see. All right, let's see. Morrison writes, life insurance isn't expecting the worst, but preparing. The biggest misconception about life insurance is it's expensive. If you've been thinking about life insurance but don't know where to start, inbox me. This looks like it's just a standard advertisement for a life insurance agent. And while I'm not opposed to that, I don't think that that's really effective just because all of the life insurance agents, they seem identical, right? It's just the same person, just different shapes, sizes, colors, and genders. Everything else is pretty much the same as far as life insurance agents are concerned. It's one of the reasons why I started this channel, just to be a little bit different, to kind of stand out from the crowd. And that is hard to do when everybody, or it should be easier to do when everybody is identical. So they're just the same person in a different costume, I suppose. Let's see. Let's talk about life insurance. Which one is good to go with? It really depends on your age and what you're looking to accomplish. If you're younger, I highly recommend going with a term policy. Term policies are the better policies for younger people just because they've got mortgages, they've got young kids, they've got all of this financial responsibility that they need to take care of. So a term policy is going to be the way to go if you are younger with kids, a mortgage, and you're looking for income replacement. Typically, term policies are you could get 10 times the coverage for 1/5 of the cost. So $1 million coverage would be 1/5 of the cost of $100,000 whole life insurance policy. Now, the downside to a term policy is the fact that it expires. That's one of the things that people talk about the most. But a term policy is meant to be in place while you need it the most, right? So while you're raising the kids, while you're paying off the mortgage, while you're building up your retirement accounts, that's what a term policy is there for. So if something were to happen to you while you're doing any of those things, the life insurance company would step in and give the money to your family. So all of those obligations or all of those things you wanted to accomplish in life are in fact taken care of. So in my opinion, term policies are the best. And I do believe every parent should have one. Like every single parent should have a high value term policy in place. Let's see. All right, someone writes, y'all finding money for the Usher and Chris Brown concerts. Can't find that same money to come up for with life insurance. Okay. Yeah, well, that's a matter of perspective, right? That's definitely an issue where people prioritize different things, and I'm not even sure if it's a matter of prioritizing things like that. I think most people don't have life insurance just because they don't think about it, right? Like if someone sat down and they thought about like what happens to my kids, what happens to my spouse if something were to happen to me, from the financial standpoint. If people sat down and thought about that, I would guarantee almost every single parent in the United States would have a life insurance policy in place. Like if they actually sat down and said, okay, well, we're both alive today. If something were to happen to one of us tomorrow, what would that look like from a financial standpoint? And if people did that, then the number of parents that don't have life insurance would drastically decrease almost instantly. That's my opinion on that. Let's see how to keep your life insurance premiums low. Okay, so looks like it's an advertisement for life insurance, which I don't think that a low monthly payment is really what's gonna bring people in to life insurance. I think it's a matter of what it's going to do for your family, right? Once you see the value of life insurance, the price really isn't a factor. Although I always try to go for the lowest amount possible for people. I don't want them to have to struggle to make the payments. I don't want them to have to worry about the cost of it. So I definitely try to go for the lower cost of life insurance. But that as a selling point for life insurance really isn't, I don't think, a good method to do it. It's all about protecting the family, about what happens if you are not there. So I think that's a bigger thing to do. And I'm not sure if there's an advertisement that can really cause people to think about them not being there. Typically, what happens with people is when they really start to think about life insurance, usually it's like a friend or a family member around their age passes away and their family doesn't have a policy. That's when people really start to think about what's going to happen if they don't have a policy. Unfortunately, I think it should be reinforced at a younger age, especially if you have kids. I think as soon as you have kids, that's when it changes from I should get life insurance to I must get life insurance. I think that's one of the big things. Any other situation, like right, any other situation, I can kind of maybe not agree with, but I can kind of understand. Like if someone's married and there are no kids involved, I can kind of understand where they wouldn't get life insurance. At the end of the day, they're two adults. If they've talked about it and they know and they understand what's going to happen, then that's on them. If it's a senior citizen looking to cover the cost of a burial or cremation, then I might not agree with the fact that they don't have it, but I can kind of understand it. But whenever there are kids in play, whenever you bring a kid into the world, and I think that's when you absolutely must get life insurance. I think that is the only time where it is an absolute imperative that you take the 15 to 20 minutes and get a life insurance policy. Spend the $25 to $50 a month, maybe 75, depending on how much coverage you want and your health issues. But I think that's where you absolutely have to do that. Like I can't really get past people not doing that when you have kids involved. All right, people are quick to say they have life insurance through their jobs. Do you have control over your policy? Does your job have control over it? Are you going to work forever? If you decide to leave the company tomorrow, will you still be covered? Okay, so this is preaching to the choir. Most people just scroll right past life insurance, right? They're like, okay, this guy's talking about life insurance, I am out. As example with my one viewer here, but yeah, like posting stuff like this is not going to hit home to too many people unless you know the person personally, or unless someone has had experienced a death. All right, here's an advertisement for Woodman's life insurance. Okay, I haven't heard any bad things about them. I haven't heard many good things, but I haven't heard bad things. So I think that balances out. So they're probably a decent company. Here is a person posting another advertisement. Trying to figure out here what is going on. All right, so someone's saying, feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions. Okay, no one's going to reach out. Let's see, do the math. Okay, so this person puts in a spreadsheet. They want to last, or funeral cost is $12,000. That's a pretty accurate estimate as far as funeral costs. I think most places are around $12,000 or so. Well, typically it's like less than 10 for affordable burials, and then with the cost of the plot and the headstone, it goes up to around $12,000. Then they got personal debt, mortgage payoff, replacement income, which is a tax-free salary. So yeah, and they're recommending 40 to 50% of your your take-home pay. College fund, $200,000 per child. You add the lines together, the present insurance that you own, and then families need at death. So that they're just showing you a good way to calculate how much life insurance you will need. But at the end of the day, people aren't going to get life insurance unless they feel the need, unless they actually come to terms with their own mortality and understand that their family's going to be in a bad situation if something were to happen to them. I don't think, no matter what advertisements you put up there, until people actually feel the impact of them not being around from a financial standpoint, it's just, there's nothing that's going to happen. But that is a good tool. Like, they really laid out the math as far as like what you need to have in place, and how you can calculate that. So, all right, welcome to the chat. Oh, Lulu's back. Hey, Lulu, how are you today? Just going over some life insurance questions here. What are you up to? Are you good? Awesome. Glad to hear it. Hopefully it's a nice day in Albuquerque. Thought I'd hop on here and answer some questions about life insurance. Oh, hello, Danny. How are you? Is she the one who also turned 30? Okay, two. Cool. Well, if you guys have any questions about anything, feel free to this. Okay. All right, Danny. I'll pull up your page as well. Yeah, you guys aren't the only ones in here right now, so I was waiting for some people to hop on and ask some questions about life insurance. Not the most interesting of topics for most, but take a look. You guys could find some fun stuff to do today, right? The life insurance channel is not fun for a lot of people. How much coverage do you need, Danny? Well, that really depends on how old are you? You're 30 years old, I know that, right? And do you currently have a mortgage or anything like that in place, or? And the biggest thing is kids too. Like, if you have kids, that's when I think you should absolutely have it. But typically for life insurance, it's about income replacement. So if you're married and there's two incomes, you want to make sure that someone's protected. That's a good place to start. Income replacement is usually 10 to 12 times what you bring home from work. But if you want to look for something, another way to start is looking to cover the cost of the debt, like your mortgage, your credit cards, personal loans, any kind of consumer debt, plus a little extra for the family. That's also a good place to start as well. And I can include my link here so you can actually go in and get a quote as well. And this will be based on your age and your health, obviously. And how much coverage you choose. Now, this is, you're young, so it's going to be a term policy, which means it can go 10, 20, 30 years. I always recommend 30 years, Danny, and I will put this in the link. This is my personal page where you can get a quote. And if you like the quote, you can fill out the application. It's going to take maybe 15 minutes or so. Oh, sure, Lulu. Term life insurance lasts a specific period of time. So this is going to be a much larger amount in coverage, like 250,000, 500 million dollars worth of coverage, but it lasts a certain period of time, like 20 years or 30 years. And what it's designed to do is give you a large amount of coverage while you're raising your kids, or while you're paying off your mortgage, or while you're building up your retirement account. So that's what it's there for. So if something were to happen to you or your husband while you're doing this, then the life insurance company would step in and give you the payout. Whole life is a little bit different. It's a lot more expensive. It does last your entire life, but it's really a lot more expensive. So, for example, for a term policy, you can get 10 times the coverage for 1/5 of the price. So you're not paying an outrageous amount of money. Now, there are policies available for that are permanent, but the cost is insane. For term policies, usually most parents can get it for $50 or less a month. And that way, if something happens to one of them, the kids are going to be taken care of, the mortgage is going to be taken care of, all of the debt's going to be taken care of. And that's the one I recommend the most for younger people. The whole life, they try to sell it as an investment vehicle, but it's really not a good investment vehicle, because the first 3 years of you making the payments, it all goes to the life insurance agent or the life insurance company. So in my eyes, the best policy is a term policy. Like, the money you save with a term policy, you can always invest that into like a mutual fund or into the stock market yourself. And you, at the end of the period, you're going to have more money than you would have in the whole life policy. So, but Danny, I put that in the chat. So if you wanted to go to that, that is my personal agent page with Banner Term. They've been around almost 200 years, since 1836. So Abraham Lincoln was, in fact, a young man at the time that this was out. You put in your date of birth, and I believe it was one day after Lulu's, and the state you're located in, the amount of coverage you're looking. So if you wanted to have enough to cover the mortgage, or mortgage and all the debt, you know, $250,000, $500,000, whatever the case may be. And I would go with the policy, like how long you want the policy to last. You're young, so I would go with a 30-year term. It is a little more expensive than 20, but it'll take you all the way through to the age of 60. So that would be my recommendation for that. Do you need a medical exam? You do not need a medical exam for this one, for this term policy, unless you go above $3 million worth of coverage. Banner Term's really good as far as the medical exams. There's no medical exam until you go over a certain amount. They go up to $15 million in coverage, and usually that's for like entertainers or athletes. But typically, most people will stick with the $500,000 is a great starting place. Like, if you don't know what to get, $500,000 is always a good amount to start with, and you can always add more later, right? There's no restriction on the amount of coverage you get or the number of policies you can have. But yeah, I would recommend starting with $500,000. Just see how that price is going to be for you, and then if you need to add more, you always can, right? So, for example, you were born in 1996, I believe, and if you are a smoker, it's going to be more expensive, obviously. And you are in New Mexico, so let's take a look at that. So $500,000. Who should be the beneficiary? Well, you can put me down, Lulu. I can be the beneficiary, absolutely. No, I would recommend your husband, Lulu, as a beneficiary. That way, you know, he would have the access to the money, you know, to cover the cost of raising the kids, the mortgage, all of that stuff. So that's who I would go with, and that can be changed at a later date. But it would require a notary. You'd have to take it to a notary to change it. But yeah, I would always recommend the husband, or who is going to be responsible for the finances if you were to pass away. So, for example, a $500,000 30-year term, provided you're in excellent health condition. is around $24.17 a month if you're in excellent health condition. And excellent health condition just means, you're not taking medications for anything. There's no history of any kind of conditions. Your height and your weight's pretty good. You might have a little love handles, not too much. And if you were in preferred status, which is one level lower, it'd be like $30 a month. So it doesn't vary too much for that. But yeah, you could do that. You could go online. You can get that quote yourself. You can fill out the application. It doesn't ask any questions that you don't know the answers to. I'll pull up an example application here real fast. Yeah, the first page is going to be your name, your name, your address, date of birth, street address, all of that stuff. It's going to ask for your email address and your phone number. They're not going to spam you. I'm not going to spam you. Then it's going to ask for the coverage amount, which is pretty much what you asked for in the quotes. You can always increase that or decrease it depending on what price point you want to stick with. And then it's going to ask for the beneficiary and the client information, and it's going to be health questions. So, how do you shop for the best prices? Well, for me, Banner Term does have the best prices. The link that I put in there, they are the best company. That's the one I use. There are also companies out there that are fairly close in price to Banner Term, such as Protective and Pacific. They're about, I think, 50 cents difference. Now, if you're looking for, are you a senior citizen, Danny, or you are Lulu's friend, so you're 30. So yeah, Banner Term will be the best. Pacific and Prudential and Protective, those are some good companies as well. I think Banner Term is the best, though, the link that I put in there. But yeah, the prices aren't going to be that much different as far as those. Now, if you go to some other companies like Ethos, there's going to be it's going to be more money, just because they're kind of like the Costco. They put access into other companies, but they get a kickback, right? So they get a cut of people signing up for life insurance, so the prices are going to be a little bit higher. Not necessarily a bad company, but it is a little more expensive with them. Other companies, I think New York Life, they've got additional riders that will increase the price. But yeah. Yeah, and whatever you do, Danny, like if you do go online and you look for life insurance, whatever you do not put in your phone number in any of those forms unless you're actually applying for life insurance. Like if you're looking online and you see one of those forms, get a quote now, and it asks for your phone number, that just means they're going to call you nonstop. So I don't recommend doing that. Danny is not okay. I just saw the last part of your name there, Danny. Why is Danny not okay? Now, Danny, if you were a senior citizen looking for life insurance, now that would really depend on your medical conditions as far as finding the best price, because different companies have different prices for different medications you're taking or different health conditions. For senior citizens, have a really rough time shopping for life insurance just because there's so many companies out there, and they weight different medical conditions at a different level. So shopping for younger people, shopping for life insurance is a lot easier than senior citizens. So, and if Banner Term was not the best, I would not recommend them. And Lulu, did you put me as a beneficiary, or did you use your husband? Hey, Danny is not okay. No, I think you should probably put your husband down for that, Lulu. Um, how do you know which company is going to give you the best results? That's a good question. Which companies are going to be the best for? Well, I mean, there's different rating systems for life insurance companies. So they have their financial rating. They've got their customer reviews. Banner Term is in the top of those. I think the top five. Yeah, one thing you don't want to make it more complicated than it is, but I'll give you a list of the top five term companies in the U.S. Banner Term, in my opinion, is hands down the best, but just their prices can't be beat. They've been around forever. They've got A+ reviews, so that's why I consider them the best. That's where I've got my largest policy with. But here are some other ones that you might want to consider. There is Protective, Pacific, Guardian is ranked pretty high, and Symetra. Those are also good companies, and the prices will be relatively the same, right? Which life insurance policy do I hold? Well, I'm still kind of young, relatively speaking, so I have a large term policy in place. What is your deductible? There's no deductible for life insurance, Lulu. You just pay the monthly payment, the premium, all right? And if something were to happen to you, then your husband would fill out the claims form, send that to Banner Term, and then Banner Term would send him a check or direct deposit within a few days of receiving that information. Who do I work for? I'm an independent broker. I work with a lot of different life insurance companies, so I get to pick and choose which life insurance companies I work with. And I prefer to work with the companies that I would personally use or I do personally use. So my top one is Banner Term for term life insurance, hands down. That no one is close to them, in my opinion. As far as whole life insurance companies for senior citizens, I stick with Mutual of Omaha. Now, they're not the cheapest, right? They're not the least expensive, but I think they are the best. So I tend to work with Banner for term life insurance, and I work with Mutual of Omaha for whole life insurance. Now, there are certain situations where people have a lot of medical issues. You know, maybe they had a heart attack, a stroke, COPD, diabetic neuropathy, where they have multiple conditions and they can't get day one coverage. So in that case, I tend to work with AIG or Corebridge that they have the 2-year wait periods. But no, so I get to choose which companies I work with, and I only want to work with the ones that I would personally use. Let's see, me and Lulu were on a road trip together. Oh, that's awesome, guys. You guys are living the life out there in New Mexico, I tell you. Uncle Cliff went to the play. Well, thank you for telling. Thank you. Thanks for sharing that, Danny. And maybe your name will be Danny is okay now. So that'll be good. Hope you guys have a great time. Where are you guys going for your road trip? I know that's not life insurance related either, but I am curious to know. But yeah, for me, it's Banner Term all day, every day as far as term policies. For whole life, I would recommend Mutual of Omaha. The only time I wouldn't recommend Mutual of Omaha is if you had health conditions other than high blood pressure, high cholesterol, controlled diabetes. And when I say controlled, that means there's no diabetic neuropathy, no amputations, no secondary issues. Mutual of Omaha, you can't go wrong with them. El Paso, Texas. Okay. Nice, Danny. What are you guys going to do in El Paso? No, I'm just taking a look here. So that's not too bad of a road trip. That's like 270 miles. Okay. That's a good, what, few hours? So that shouldn't be too bad. Yeah, plenty of time to ask all the questions you need to about life insurance, and I'll be more than happy to answer them. And whoever else is on the chat, if you have any questions, feel free to chime in. If you have any questions about those advertisements, any questions about a particular company or particular policy, you are more than welcome to ask those questions. Yeah, I'm really trying to do this a lot for senior citizens too, because they get just absolutely bombarded with phone calls and the spam and the misinformation. Like I saw this ad online the other day where it said a free 25,000 or free $40,000 for a burial benefit. That's what they were implying. They were implying that it was free, and their whole goal was to get senior citizens to call in so they can pressure them into getting life insurance, which I think that's wrong. I think that's deceptive, and that is probably why people hate life insurance and life insurance agents so much. So Lulu, what are you doing in El Paso? Are you going to go to another amusement park? All right, welcome to the chat, person number 5. If you have any questions about life insurance, feel free to ask. Just talking about the term and whole life with Danny and Lulu, who are on a road trip to El Paso. So any questions about advertisements, life insurance companies, policy types, anything like that, you're more than welcome to ask the questions. There's no obligation or anything. You're going to, oh, water park. Danny, you guys, oh, that's great. Uncle Cliff's was not enough, huh? You got to step up your game, huh? I see that. You guys are living life this summer. I am envious a little bit. Also very happy that you guys are having a good time. That's what life's about. And Danny, did you get the whole family together this time? Like all the kids are going today? Or Lulu, I'm sorry. Did you get the whole family together? No? Oh. All right, who flaked out? Who didn't make it? I need names. We can contact them. You gotta give them a hard time. Oh, that's right, girls trip. You said that. Okay. All right, which water park are you guys going to? Me and Lulu. Okay. Girls' Day. All right, guys. If who's driving, right? Because you both can't be chatting and driving at the same time. But that sounds like a blast. All right, I'm going to get back to the good old mailbag here. The questions. Someone says, in search of a life insurance policy, term or whole life for $350,000. That would have to be term whole life policy. Would just be insanely expensive for $350,000, provided you could find one. Let's see. Yeah, $350,000 whole life policy would be about $970 a month, as opposed to a $350,000 term policy, which would be about $50 a month. So the difference in that amount, you can take and invest the $920 difference, and over the course of that term, you would have more than the $350,000. Oh, you're on a bus? Okay, nice. Reminds me of the college days. From El Paso to, or from Albuquerque, New Mexico to El Paso. All right, so that's a 4-hour trip, roughly. What time do you guys leave? And more importantly, do you have snacks? That's more important. All right, let's see. Do I have any more emails here? All right, this person says, I am 42 years old and I pay $110 a month for $500,000 worth of coverage. Is that too high? I would say probably. Let's see, 42 years old. I'm just going to pull this up for them. I think that is way too much, actually, but 42-year-old female. Yeah, probably paying about $60 too much there. Tessa. Oh no, bad traffic? That's horrible. That's why you bring snacks. Let's see, it's 1 o'clock there now. You're going to the water park. I'm guessing the water park closes, what, around 7 or 8? 8 or 9? Let's see, what do we have? We've got Wet and Wild Water Park. We've got Lost Kingdom, Camp Cohen Water Park. Wet and Wild, I think my wife went to that one once. I think my wife went to the Wet and Wild Water Park with my daughter once. Oh, that's fine. You don't have to chat wall. That's fine. I'm here. Thank you guys for tuning in. I wish life insurance was more entertaining, but thank you for those questions. We're going... Lulu, you got to get a bigger phone. The first one. Oh, okay. Wet and Wild? No, as long as you've got Netflix and some snacks and you got good company, it should be a pretty fun trip. And Wet and Wild closes at 6 o'clock, so Texas is, what, are they central? Yeah, it's 2:39 now. How far away are you from the water park? You got to be getting close, right? Oh, meeting your sister. Okay, awesome. is fantastic. Make sure you take lots of photos and have a great time, right? Make some memories. Oh, great. Oh, you're going tomorrow. Okay, that makes sense then. I was like, you were getting close to the shutdown time. It's 2:40 in Texas right now, so and they close at 6, so that is good. So Danny and Lulu on a road trip. Nice. And what are the kids going to do while you're on the road trip? We have to watch switch buses. Okay. Hey, not good, Dan. How are you? What's the benefit of life insurance? Well, that would be. It depends on what you're looking for, right? Like if you've got kids or mortgage or something like that, and you want to protect them, that would be the benefit of it. If you're a senior citizen and you want to cover the cost of your final expenses, that would be the benefit of it. My recommendation, like, I really focus on people with young kids, like kids under 18, because I think that those are the most important ones to have life insurance. But if you wanted to cover the cost of burial or cremation, and your kids can or won't do it, then that would be a benefit of life insurance. But like that question, it kind of goes back to what you want, right? Like so, I always recommend imagining that you pass away tomorrow. What are the financial implications of that? And those are the benefits. Like the life insurance policy are designed to negate those negative impacts. So if you wanted to, like, if you've got young kids and you want to make sure that the mortgage is taken care of and your spouse is taken care of, that would be the benefit. If you're a senior citizen, your funeral or cremation would be taken care of. Does it cover animals? I wish, Dan. No, life insurance. You can't get a life insurance policy on animals. If you could, I would definitely have one. I've got 3 dogs, 2 cats, a few birds, and fish. On homeless family members, that is a good idea, Dan. That is a great idea, and you are not the first person to have that idea, by the way. There was someone who recommended taking policies out on derelict family members, but no, unfortunately, you can't do that for a few reasons. One, you have to have an insurable interest, like they have to authorize you taking out the policy, and they you know, so it's probably not the best. Yeah, they do, like depending on the size of the policy, it is based on your income too. Like you can't go over 30 times your income. So if they're homeless, I'm assuming they don't have employment. So when they check that, they're gonna be like, "What's Dan doing? What's Dan's trying to take us for a ride, isn't he?" So no, unfortunately, you can't take them out on the homeless family members. Another question, Dan: why is your family members homeless? Are they not suitable to stay with another member of the family, or have they been given like every chance after every chance, and they're kind of falling through the cracks, even though you did that? They do drug. Yeah, Dan. That's going to be. You probably wouldn't be able to get them approved for a life insurance policy if they're actively doing drugs. That would be a massive red flag for the insurance companies. I'm sorry that they're going through that too. Once they get addicted, they really. I don't want to excuse it, but like once they get addicted, it's like they don't really have much control over it. Like the initial like taking the drugs, sure, right? But once that addiction kicks in, it's pretty much like autopilot, and I'm not really sure how you snap them out of that, man. Like, I'm not sure if you like try to force them into rehab, or the interventions might work sometimes, but I'm sorry to hear that, man. Is it just one family member? Is it multiple? Oh, my day is fantastic, Lulu. I took the dogs for a walk this morning, as always. They turned around again because yet it's not rained in South Carolina. Even though they keep promising that there will be rain, I have not seen it yet. Let's see, they do drugs. Okay. Yeah, so my day's going pretty well. I had a. Oh, sorry. My phone fell there. Apologies for that. Yeah, pretty good so far. It is only 4 o'clock, so I've got a few more meetings later today. Dan, man, I am sorry, dude. And you're the responsible one. Are you responsible for all of these people, or you're trying to bring everybody together to kind of address it? That sounds like a horrible situation, Dan. Yeah, I don't know how you snap people out of that. Like, forced rehab, or if you have to do the intervention. But a lot of times, I think it's like them hitting rock bottom. Maybe, you know. I think like there's a moment of clarity that comes into play once you hit absolute rock bottom, that some people go through, and once they do, they just transform their lives. My wife, she had a best friend that was really addicted to drugs. Oh no, I didn't fall. That was my phone. It was my phone, Lulu. But yeah, oh, you're trying to capitalize on it, Dan. Wow, the world has got you jaded, sir. I mean, I like the angle. Unfortunately, it's not legal, and plus, they probably wouldn't be able to get them approved. It's I think that's one of the questions on the life insurance applications. If have you used any illegal drugs or narcotics? Also, if there are any felonies or arrest records on there, that has a tendency to mess up the approval process as well. But way to go for thinking outside of the box, Dan. That is a novel approach, sir. And thanks for joining, Dan. You have been. If you are being honest about the situation, I hope everything works out. If you are just having fun, it is very entertaining as well. And Dan, if you know anyone who's looking for life insurance, feel free to send them my way. I will be more than happy to help them out or point them in the right direction. So. All right. Well, the chat is pretty slow right now. I'll go back to some of the other questions uh, that are popped up here. Let me see if I find any more in here. All right, 25,000 whole life policy on a newborn costs around $21 a month. Okay, is that a good price? Um, yeah, that's a decent price for 25,000 on a newborn. My recommendation, you're paying $21 a month, would be if you have a term policy that has a rider associated with it for the kids. If your kid's between 6 months and 16 years old, you can add them to your policy for like $4 or $5 a month, unlimited amounts of kids. So if you have 10, it's going to be the same price. That policy will last until they turn 26 or until you turn 65. So that would be my recommendation. As far as the $21 a month, the money you would save if you put that in like some kind of mutual fund or you put it in the stock market, you would make more money by the time they turn 21 than you would have in that policy. So what do you do in your free time? Not good, Dan. I like to go to see live music, Dan. That's what I do. I really enjoy that, like local bands. There is a pub nearby, and they have local bands that show up on Friday and Saturday night. So I like going to see them. Like sometimes you catch a really good performer. I prefer doing that as opposed to going to the big venues, although I've been to the big venues before. It's just, one, it's like people working to make it in the industry. So they're doing it for the love of the game right now, as opposed to, people who have already made it. And also you're going to spend significantly less money to go to a local show as opposed to one of those big venues. So I'd rather do that, but that's what I really enjoy. Also like going to see some performances, like theater. Me and some friends went to Tennessee a while back. We went to go see midget wrestling, or micro wrestling. I'm sorry, don't cancel me. But we went to go see micro wrestling. So anything that's fun, like anything that's different or novel, it's not really confined to one thing. Who do I work for? I am an independent broker, so I get to work with whatever company I want to. Right now, it's Banner Term, Mutual of Omaha, Corebridge, SBLI, American Amicable. There's a few other ones, Foresters, John Hancock. So I'm contracted through those companies as an independent broker. And the reason why I do that is because a lot of the agencies, I don't like their policies, how they practice things. Like the standard practice in a lot of agencies is just to call people and call people and call people nonstop, pressure them into getting something that you wouldn't get yourself. So that's why I like to be independent of all of that. That's just not my style. I can't call someone 50, 60 times a day and say I'm there to help, because, that's just, in my opinion, like most of the life insurance process is just harassment. My favorite color, Danny, is all right. My favorite color, I guess it's blue, like light blue. That would probably be my favorite color. Or black. Black's not bad either. Black pretty much goes well in the wintertime. All right, let's see what we have here. Any more questions popping up? Okay. My favorite month. Well, Danny is not okay. My favorite month. I think October. That's when it's starting to get a little cooler. You got Halloween. You got Thanksgiving the following month. I think October is going to be the favorite month. Cooler weather, Halloween, followed by Thanksgiving, followed by Christmas. So that is it. That pretty much signifies the end of the summer completely. You can't expect too many more warm days. I love that. And I get to take the dogs on longer walking trails. So it is October. What about you, Danny? What is your favorite month? Danny is not okay. So pretty much October to December. Those are top months. Or actually October to February. I think those are my favorite set of months. You know. Also, me and my friends do this annual trip in October, where we go to different places. Like we went to Tennessee, Vegas. Where else have we been? Tennessee, Vegas, Georgia, just different places. Vermont, we did Vermont a couple years back. So. Okay, this person's paying too much. And Danny is not okay. What is your favorite month? Or the other person that joined the chat, if you have any questions about life insurance, feel free to chime in. What time is it? It is on the East Coast. It's 3:56. So almost 4 o'clock. And for anyone who joined the chat, any questions about life insurance, it is open forum here, so feel free to chime in. Let's see, check one thing here. Let's see if I got another email that popped up. All right. Well, it looks like everybody left. Okay, well, if there is anyone here, feel free to ask any questions that you might have. There are no bad questions, really. I'm just going to go through some stuff here for life insurance, like some life insurance questions that popped up. Who has the best life insurance policies? My recommendation for that is Banner Term for term policies and Mutual of Omaha for whole life. Provided that there are no major health conditions, obviously. But those are my two recommendations. Oh, you like my keyboard? Can you see it? Yeah, it's just a standard wireless keyboard. And it is 4 o'clock Eastern here, so. And it looks like I lost everyone again. All right. Well, welcome back, everybody. Welcome back, Danny and Lulu. Hope that road trip's going well. All right, welcome to the chat. I don't know if this is Danny or Lulu or so. Oh, lost him again. All right, someone's back. All right, welcome back. If you have any questions about life insurance, feel free to chime in. It is an open forum. I'll be happy to answer any questions that you might have. My favorite song. Wow, there's a lot of them, Lulu. Boy, there's so many. I guess Pink Floyd, "Comfortably Numb" is probably the favorite. Can't go wrong with that one. I like one called "Clay Pigeons" by Blaze Foley. It's a lesser known artist, but I think he had one really good hit there. In fact, that might actually be good for your road trip. What is this, Lulu? I'm not sure what those icons mean. Is that the Jack of Diamonds? Okay. Hmm. Wow, that tastes like Bailey's in there. I know there's not Bailey's in there, but definitely tastes like it. What is favorite song? Okay, well, yeah. Clay Pigeons. Let's toss that one in there for you, Lulu. No one's asking about life insurance. So I've got a few seconds here. We'll toss in one of my favorites here. This is lesser known artist. Let's see if I can. This guy had one hit, and I thought it was a fantastic song. It might not be your style, that's fine. Not everybody has to like the same things. Oh, you've got a live stream going for your fans? Okay, awesome. That's great. So you guys are multitasking. Cool. Let me see. Of course, you guys are young. You're probably doing something like Twitch or Kick or something like that, right? All right, yeah, have fun. And I might step away as well here for a brief second. All right, sorry about that. I had to get some coffee. Dan is saying, all right, Mia. All right, here we go. Let's take a look at some more questions here. All right, Lisa writes, as we've been researching life insurance for our kids, we asked the Iowa Insurance Division whether or not Iowa requires life insurance companies to verify proposed Social Security numbers with Social Security Administration office before issuing a policy. We were informed that they're not aware of any statutes that require this. Social Security. There's not going to be a life insurance company that's going to issue a policy without a Social Security number directly for a kid. Now, if it's a rider, you can put their name on there, provided they're over 6 months old. You don't have to have the Social Security number for that. But an individual policy for a kid would probably require a Social Security number. That's just how that works. They use that information to verify your medical history. Every person has a medical information bureau report. So that's anytime you go to the doctor, they put a record in your file, what you were treated for, the medications you received, stuff like that. And every life insurance company outside of a guaranteed issue company will pull that file just to make sure that there are no major health issues or health concerns associated with the person they're insuring. So it's hard to get around the Social Security number as far as getting life insurance. It seems like she did go to a lot of work for that, but that's just how they work. Who has the best life insurance policies? Any suggestions? That's Mutual of Omaha for senior citizens, provided there's no major issues, and Banner Term if someone is younger and needs a larger amount of coverage. Those would be my recommendations. If you're a smoker, unfortunately, there are no companies out there that really give you great rates anymore. Mutual of Omaha used to have a 2-year period where if you were a smoker, that you would have the same rates as a non-smoker. But what they did at the time they had this plan in place was they required after 2 years that you submit a cotton swab to verify that you were, in fact, a non-smoker at the end of the 2 years, and not many people actually followed through with that. So they ended up discontinuing that policy. So as of right now, to my knowledge, there aren't any companies that really give smokers a good rate. For example, if I did a search for, let's just do a search for a 35-year-old male that does smoke versus a non-smoker, I can kind of give you an idea of what it's going to cost for a 35-year-old male, non-smoker, a smoker and a non-smoker. So a 35-year-old smoker looks like they would pay around $140 a month for a $500,000 policy. If they were a non-smoker, then they would pay, $33 a month. So it's like $100 more, so essentially 4 times more expensive for a smoker as opposed to a non-smoker. That's pretty standard across the board, right? Smokers are not, that is a major red flag for any insurance company. If you smoke, if you are a smoker, I used to smoke myself. I know it's hard to quit. Hey, girl. But that is the best thing. Now, if you are a smoker and you're looking for a life insurance policy, one recommendation you could do is to get a term policy that is smaller in face amount for 30 years or so, just so the premium's not outrageous. Or you could get the amount that you need for maybe like a 10-year period, and during that 10-year period you quit smoking, and after 2 to 5 years of being a non-smoker, most insurance companies will automatically recalibrate that to non-smoking status, so you can get the better rates. Yeah, I'm not sure what Dan's going to mail me, but hopefully it's something good. It's a large check, isn't it, Dan? You're going to send me a large sum of money in the mail. I'm just going to check my messages here real fast. See if there is anything going on. And there is nothing going on as of yet, but I am here to answer any and all questions about life insurance or any life insurance related questions or any questions, and really, it is fair game. I'm just going through some questions that are popped up here online. Uh, who are you using for life insurance outside of work? I am using Banner Term for my term policies. If I were a senior citizen, I would be using Mutual of Omaha. That's pretty straightforward. If I had major health issues, I would probably go with like Corebridge or AIG. Who do y'all recommend for life insurance age 40 to 50? I would still go with Banner Term for that. If you're 40 or 50, more than likely you still have a mortgage in place. You still got a mortgage in place. You still got, you might still have young kids at home, and I think that you would need a much larger amount of coverage. Obviously, it depends on your situation with that. Age 40, you're still getting great rates for term policy. Age 50, you're still getting really good rates for a term policy that could take you all the way through to retirement age. Hey, what? Oh, I can mail you a VCR or baby clothes. Oh wow, Dan, you are so generous, man. I actually have a VCR. Believe it or not, I still have one of those old things. My wife used to when she was alive, she did ballet, and she had a lot of recordings of her performances. But the only way to watch them were on VHS. So, what was it, like 10 years ago? We ended up getting the VCR, and it is still functional. Now, I don't have any of my old VCR tapes, but outside of the ballet stuff, but yeah, VCRs are useful. But I think we ended up transferring most of it to a digital format. But Dan, that is very generous of you. Baby clothes, okay. Yeah, baby clothes are I don't really have any need for baby clothes right now. Dan, my kid is out of the house. She is having her second kid here in the next few weeks. So maybe the baby clothes, Dan. Oh, welcome back, Miss Lulu. And Dan has just offered to send me some baby clothes and a VCR after he tried to insure his family members. Dan's like, I'm going to get paid off this. Hey, Lulu. How many more buses do you have to go, Lulu? All right. Oh, we got another member in the chat here. Welcome to the chat. Thanks for joining. If you got any questions, feel free to ask them. We got a couple more people. All right. Welcome to the channel, guys. Any questions you have about life? Lulu, hello, hi. Lulu, I see you there. Kind of going in and out. Yeah, the bus. Yeah, All right, welcome to the channel, guys. If you have any questions about life insurance, feel free to ask them. It's about different companies, different policies, why you get so many spam calls, anything along those lines. You are more than welcome to ask those questions. How to avoid spam calls, what are the best companies, anything along those lines. You're more than welcome to ask. What time are you going to get there, Lulu? You're getting there today at some point, right? Let's talk about life insurance. Which one is good to go with? That's a question that popped up. So it's going to be my same answer depending on your situation, but I think you can't go wrong with Banner Term or Mutual of Omaha, depending if you're looking for term or whole life. For guaranteed issue, it would probably be something like AIG, Corebridge, something like that. Colonial Penn, they're not a horrible company for guaranteed issue, but I do have my issues with them. I don't like their advertising strategy, and I don't like that they're not completely upfront about the 2-year waiting period. So. All right, someone sent GoFundMe with 3 strikes on it. I'm not sure about that. This person says, life insurance question, I need help. They did not include the question, so that's hard to answer. So is Danny's sister picking you guys up from the bus station? Oh, nice. Okay. And you guys have a big night planned out, going out to dinner or something like that, or? All right, welcome to the channel. If anybody has any questions, feel free to ask them. I have a lovely family. Yeah, I think so, Dan. Let's see. I'm trying to think if anybody suffered from addiction in the family. I think some distant cousins did. I know I went to a funeral a few years back from one of the cousins that had an addiction. Oh boy, bus stop food. Make sure it's not the sushi. Yeah, thanks, Dan. I love the dogs. Daughter is fantastic. Grandkid's good, and hopefully the new grandkid's not a jerk. I don't think he's going to be, but we'll see on that one. Let's see. The in-laws, I'm still in contact with them, even though my wife passed away. They're fantastic people. Let's see. Who else do I have? Got some best friends. They are essentially family. So yeah, I've got a pretty good group. You got to be selective with a group, Dan. You can't just tag on to any group. Like if they're negative people, you can't do that. You know? All right, three people. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them. Anything about life insurance or in general? I'm chatting here with Danny, Lulu, and Dan. But any questions you have about life insurance, feel free to chime in, and I will answer them. No spam calls, no pressure, nothing like that. Just trying to help people out. All right, here is a question. How much should senior citizens have for final expense? Well, that is a good question. My recommendation for a senior citizen to get final expense coverage would be to start with the amount that is needed. So if you're looking to cover the cost of a burial or cremation, I would start with that price. And if you wanted to add more, then by all means you can. But a lot of the advertisements, especially targeted towards seniors, they have this $50,000, $25,000 coverage amounts, but they don't tell you the prices. There's not, and those can be extremely high, especially if you're over the age of 70. That's when the prices really start going high, but they won't tell you that when they run their advertisements. So my recommendation is to start with what's needed. If you are looking to cover the cost of a cremation, maybe $5,000. If you're looking to cover the cost of a burial, depending on your area, maybe $10,000 to $15,000 is a good amount. And then once you get the prices for those amounts, then if you wanted to add more, you can, but I wouldn't start with the massive amount of coverage out of the gate. And if you would like to figure out, if you are a senior citizen, you want to know how much it costs for a burial or cremation in your area, I will put a great website in the chat here where you can go to this website, put in your zip code, find out what your local funeral home is charging for burials or cremations. All right, bus stop food. Oh, man. To be young again. Let's see. All right, so I just put that in there. So if you're a senior citizen looking to figure out how much it's going to cost for a burial or cremation, that is an outstanding resource. Put in your zip code, and it will bring up a list of all the funeral homes in your area. And let's see, do we have any more online questions, or any more email questions here? Excuse me. What life insurance company has cheap life insurance for seniors on a fixed income? Well, here's the thing. Like, most life insurance companies are going to be roughly, the top company is going to be roughly the same prices, right? There's not going to be one company that's going to be so much super cheap, right? It's not going to be like, and you really have to look out for companies that, for example, if you get a quote from 10 different companies and they're roughly the same price, maybe $10 or $15 off, and then you get a quote from another company where the price is drastically different, you really want to know what you're getting, right? I've seen this happen more times than not, where people thought they had one type of policy and they didn't. You know, I don't know if they were conned into it or they just weren't, it wasn't explained to them properly, but you really have to be careful with what kind of company or what kind of coverage you go with. All right. And one of the big companies, I don't want to name any names, but there's only 3 people here. Globe Life is really, really good. Can we call you now? Let's see. Oh, you have some life insurance questions? I would be happy to take your call. Dan? What's my favorite thing? My dogs. My dogs are my favorite thing. And the cats too, but yeah, Dan, if you have any questions, you are more than welcome to give me a call. Maybe when you guys arrive to your destination, you can give me a call, and I'll be happy to go over any kind of life insurance questions you could possibly have. Yeah, but the favorite thing I have is definitely my dogs. Outside of my family, it's the dogs. They are. They get me out of bed in the morning. They make me take them for walks. They do eat a lot, but hey, that's what dogs do. Yeah, I'd wait till you get to your location, Dan. I'm just on here trying to answer any life insurance questions right now. So I don't know if it like the longer I'm on, the more people are attracted to the stream or what. But are you guys that bored? You want to talk to a life insurance agent at the bus stop? Oh, I'm grateful that you find me entertaining. I do. I am. Mm, it really tastes like Bailey's in there. What do we have here? Any more questions in the email? Trying to go through those. Oh, let's see. Get a lot of junk email. Let's see. Cynthia Austin looks like a Catholic priest. I'm not sure. Some good insurance and final expense policies. I think I covered that a few times. Hmm. No, someone writes, yeah, about getting the policy fully explained. Yeah, you need to, if you get a life insurance policy, you definitely need to read the fine print and make sure you work with someone you can trust, and they will tell you exactly what you're getting. Otherwise, you might not be getting what you think you're getting, and that could come back eventually to get you. So always read the fine print, especially if you're doing it yourself. If you go online doing it yourself, you definitely need to read the fine print. Kinda. I'm not sure what you mean. Danny is not okay. Kinda. All right. Danny is not okay. You said kind of. Oh, got a call coming in here. Excuse me for 1 second. Sorry, guys, I lose my daughter. I had to take that. So let's see. What all do we have here? See if there are any more questions out there. I think I spilled some coffee there. All right, the York, South Carolina Eats has wings on sale for 75 cents. Can't beat that. All right, there's advertisement about were you misled by your IUL policy? Probably. Here. All right, guys, I think I'm going to wrap it up. I was trying to help out some people with life insurance. There were a few questions that did pop up. Best companies to go with. My recommendation, if you're young and you're looking for a lot of coverage, that's going to be a term policy, right? Every time. Term policies do expire, but they're a lot less expensive than a whole life policy. You can get 10 times the coverage for 1/5 of the price. And these are policies that are suited for people that have young kids. They're still paying on their mortgage. They're a few years away from retirement, and they want to make sure that if anything happens prior to that retirement period, prior to them completing all the things that they're obligated to complete, that there will be some protection in place. So that's what a term policy is for. It is drastically less expensive than a whole life policy. A whole life policy, in my opinion, is good for final expenses like burial, cremation, and maybe to leave a little bit extra behind. For senior citizens, if you don't have any major health conditions, my recommendation, and it's not the cheapest policy out there, it's not the most expensive either, but it is Mutual of Omaha, provided that you don't have any major health conditions. You can have high blood pressure, high cholesterol, and controlled diabetes. If all three of those, if you're taking medications for those three conditions and they're controlled, Mutual of Omaha is the way to go. Now, if you have conditions outside of those three are essentially common across every carrier now. But if you have conditions outside of that, it's going to take a little more research to do a recommendation, because different companies weight different conditions at different levels. So if you have multiple conditions, then the best thing to do is to work with a broker that you can trust to tell you the truth. Make sure they explain everything to you. And in that situation, if you want to work with me, my contact information is on my page. You can send me a direct message through Facebook, or you can call me directly. Everything's online, and I'll be happy to point you in a direction for help. And there's no obligation for any of that. If you are a younger person, if you have kids, I cannot stress this enough. I highly recommend that you look into a life insurance policy. You might be young, you might be healthy, but if something happens to you or your spouse, then the kid, not only is your spouse going to suffer, then the kids are also going to be impacted by that financial loss. So that's my call to action as far as parents are concerned. If you have young kids under the age of 18, then you need to sit down for 10 to 15 minutes, fill out an application, and pay the $25 to $50 a month for a quality life insurance policy. And beyond that, I'm just going through and see if there are any more questions out there. Let's see, dads provide even after they're gone. I do agree with that. And I think all dads would do that. I think most parents, if they sat down and they thought about the financial impact of them leaving their family behind, that they would have life insurance policies. Right now, it's like 50% of the people, 50% of the parents out there just don't have anything, right? So if they're married and one of them goes away, passes away, then the other parent's going to be stuck filling that void, both emotionally but also financially, and that's just too much for one person. One person to cover. So that's what the policies are there for. That's why term policies, in my opinion, are one of the better policies to have. So let's take a look here and see if there's any more questions out there. I know this isn't a topic that a lot of people like to discuss, and I know that it is a nightmare to ask for help. It doesn't have to be, like usually if you ask for help, then you're going to get phone calls nonstop, 30, 40, 50 a day. Let's see, this is an advertisement for Lincoln Heritage. Lincoln Heritage is a really good company. They are pricey though. Like, there's like the lower end price, the middle price, and the high price. Lincoln Heritage would be on the higher side of the cost for whole life, but they are a good company. So if you have a policy with them, that is probably a very good policy. I do not I've never worked with them. I've reviewed all of their stuff, and they are really top notch. Let's see, I'm trying to go through here to see if there are any questions. Affordable life, cremation, burial insurance. Okay, see, this is a good advertisement. It actually says they actually advertise a $15,000 policy, which is what most senior citizens should really start with, not the 25 or $50,000 if you're 65 or older, just because the price of those policies can be a little high, especially if you're on a fixed income. So if you're over 65, I would start with covering the basics, like what needs to be covered. Like if you want to cover the cost of your burial or cremation, I would start with that cost first and then add on to it if it is a comfortable monthly payment for you. I'm not going to try to get you into a policy that you cannot afford. That doesn't do anyone any good. All right, I'm just taking a look here. Any more questions about life insurance? I'm going through here to see what we have. All right, and someone is asking, in search of a life insurance policy term or whole life, $350,000. Well, this is a good question, right? It depends on how long you need it for and how much you can afford. I can go ahead and tell you a $350,000 whole life insurance policy is going to be insanely expensive, like several $100s a month. And if you are looking for that kind of coverage, a lot of times they will try to get you into an index universal fund. I don't recommend them. I would recommend going for a term policy and you taking the money that you save, the massive amount of money you save with a term policy, and investing that yourself if that is something that you are looking for. Like an index universal life insurance policy is essentially an investment account with a life insurance component, right? And the first 3 years of that investment account all goes to the agent and to the insurance company. So my recommendation is, if you are in need of $350,000 worth of life insurance, would be to get a term and invest the difference of the term into a mutual fund or to the stock market, and that way you would have more money at the end of the period. Now, if you do want an index universal life insurance policy, I wouldn't do it. I mean, even though the commission is insane, it's not something I truly believe in, so I couldn't do it. Let's talk about which one's good to go with. Don't overthink it. Just find the top carriers and get quotes from them. That's my recommendation. There's 737 life insurance companies in the United States. They're all supposed to adhere by state and federal regulations. And if they don't, then there are penalties and there is the court of public opinion. But still, I would go with the top carriers. I would always go with the top carriers. So let's take a look here. Any other questions here? All right. Lincoln Heritage is really popular, apparently. We all recommend life insurance for ages 40 to 50. Depends on what you're looking for. If it's for a term policy or a whole life policy, it's going to be completely different. Banner term, you can't go wrong with Banner term. I think my link is in the chat. It is pinned in there, so you can take a look at that. For whole life, it would be Mutual of Omaha, barring any type of major health conditions. For 50-year-old in poor health, what are some recommendations for a 50-year-old in poor health? That is probably going to be a guaranteed issue policy if you're in poor health, depending on what you mean by poor health. But it's probably going to be a guaranteed issue policy. Mutual of Omaha does have a guaranteed issue policy. There are other places, Colonial Penn has it. I think they're a little pricey for guaranteed issue. There's AIG, Corebridge. Those are some good companies for guaranteed issue. Depending on what you mean by poor health, I'm not sure if day one coverage will be available for you, right? So most of the time there's a 2 to 3 year waiting period if you are in poor health, like heart attack or stroke in the past, year or so. If you've got maybe diabetic neuropathy or amputations or any kind of chronic liver disease or congestive heart failure or something like that, there's going to be a 2-year waiting period. And anyone who tells you any different with multiple conditions like that, they're probably trying to get you on the phone to push a product on you. Okay, this is a private insurance plan. Let's see if you qualify for $40,000 cash, not a government program. Okay, so this one is just an advertisement. See, they're starting out between at the $40,000, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. I always recommend starting out with what you need first and then going higher or lower. And I wouldn't start with the largest policy possible out of the gate, because a lot of times if people are on fixed incomes, they're going to get sticker shock, or they're going to be like, hey, this is just way too much, I'm not going to get anything. And if you have nothing, it's not good. 71, looking for whole life insurance. Okay, no 2-year waiting period, no medical exam life insurance. Okay, this one is well, I mean, they're not saying that there's no 2-year waiting period. They're saying that they don't have life insurance that has a 2-year waiting period. So if you have serious health conditions, then you're not going to be able to get a policy with them. So, where does everybody go? Do I know the difference between term and whole life? Yes. Term policies provide a massive amount of coverage for very little cost a month for a specific period of time. These policies are best suited for people who have young kids or a mortgage or a spouse, and there are people that depend on their income. What these policies are designed to do is to replace that income or cover that mortgage in the event of a death prior to the person actually fulfilling the obligations that they set out to fulfill. So if someone has young kids or a mortgage, they pass away, then the life insurance company comes in and pays for those things. They do expire, but usually you want to set the term to a period where it's no longer needed. You know, after the house is paid off, after the kids are grown and established. So that's what a term policy is. And I don't like the people talking negatively about it. I just don't think they understand like what it's designed for. That's what it's designed for. That's why it is really inexpensive coverage. It's there just in case something happens while you're fulfilling your obligations. A whole life insurance policy is essentially 10 times more expensive for 1/5 of the coverage amount. So if you had a whole life insurance policy, it would be drastically more expensive. And I think these policies are best suited for burial, cremation, final expenses. And you can have them set up to leave a little bit behind as well. If you're looking for a larger coverage amount, I would recommend starting to look at that at the ages of maybe 50 to 60, possibly 65. But once you get over 65, the $50,000 policies really become more expensive. And if you're over 70, they really, really get a lot higher. So that's why I always recommend starting with what you need. That's where we should start. I want a good, affordable life insurance company. Yeah, here is one thing about the affordable life insurance companies. I think, yeah, all the companies I work with are affordable. I work with Banner. They've got the best prices. I think they're the best term company in the United States. Mutual Omaha is one of the carriers that I really like. They're not the cheapest, but they are, I think, the best. So you've got the expensive life insurance companies, you've got the middle of the road, and you've got the cheapest ones, right? So Mutual of Omaha is at the lower end of the middle range. It might be a little bit higher than some of the cheaper policies, but they are well worth it, provided that they're in major health issues, okay? And let's see here. And you also have to be careful. Be really careful whenever you're looking for life insurance and you're looking for the absolute best price, because some policies are set up to, I don't want to say deceive, but they some policies are set up and they look like they're whole life policies. Let's say there's one out there. I forget the age of the person I was looking at, but maybe it was like 60 or so, and I was looking for 50,000. And you got, actually, I'll go ahead and do that now. Even though there's no one on here, I'll be happy to do that for myself, just so I'll have it for future reference. But let's take a look here. I think I was looking for $50,000 worth of coverage, and yeah, I think it was $50,000 worth of coverage for a 50-year-old male, and the price that I saw for that was for Mutual of Omaha $140.58 per month. Now, there is a company out there that has a $50,000 policy, but it's not a whole life policy. Now, everything they do on the advertisement or they do on the application makes it look like a whole life policy. And their price is around $80 a month. So that's $60 less expensive. That's almost 40% less than the Mutual of Omaha policy. But what they don't tell you, unless you click on the disclaimers, is that it's not a whole life policy, that it will cancel when you turn 80. Now, if that's the case, that's fine, right? Like you have it for, you're saving $60 a month until you're 80, that's great. But what they don't tell you is that the price goes up every year and then every 5 years. So by the time, if you start when you're 50, by the time you're 60, you're going to be paying drastically more than that $140. And it's going to cancel by the time you're 80 as well. So that is one thing to be careful of. If you get 10 quotes and they're relatively close in price, you know, depending on the amount, maybe like 10, 15, 20 bucks, they're relatively close in price. And then you see this other quote, it's like drastically different. Like you have not found that pot of gold. You haven't found that magic sauce. Make sure you read the fine print, because if it's too good to be true, if it seems like it's too good to be true, it probably is. So just be aware of that. That I've seen people who got that policy, they thought they were doing something, they thought they had a good policy, they were doing it for their family, and then what do you know, after 5 to 10 years, they could no longer afford the policy, and when they went to look for a whole life, an actual whole life policy, the prices had increased so much because they're now 10 years older. So be careful with what you get, be careful with who you work with. Make sure that you work with someone who's going to explain things to you, and make sure that they are going to tell you the truth. So I'm not going to name that company just because I don't want to get sued, but you will know them when you see them. Always click on the more information. Always read the policy. Make sure you've got that down, okay? And I'm just going through some more stuff here to see if I have any more questions in the mailbag. Let's see, what is a good life insurance company? Don't judge me, better late than never. Okay, well, it depends on your age. Let's take a look. How old are you? You are not particularly, you seem like you're relatively young, maybe in your 40s. It would help if I had the age, maybe 50, maybe 50. For that, if you're looking for a final expense or like a whole life policy, I would go with the Mutual Omaha, barring medical conditions. If you are younger and you just need a large amount of coverage, if you still got young kids, or there's still people who depend on you for your income, then I would go with Banner Term. That is the one that I would personally go with. That's the one I actually went with. I am a Banner Term person. I have a policy with them, and they are my favorite company. All right, let's see. Any more questions out here? What do we have here? All right, this person has a $3 million life insurance policy. Yeah, $3 million is available. It's you can definitely get a $3 million policy. That's not an issue. And usually over $3 million, that's where it kind of comes into play, where they want you to do a medical exam. They want to check your BMI. You might have to go to a Quest Diagnostic Center, something like that. You know, get the blood pressure, the weight check, and everything like that. But most companies with $3 million, they will do an instant approval. They will pull your Medical Information Bureau report, which is like a credit check for your health. So every time you go to the doctor, there's information filed in the Medical Information Bureau report. And I think they keep that in there for 7 years. So like every time you get to the doctor for 7 years, any prescriptions that you're prescribed or any diagnosis that you received, that's a record of that. And I can verify that. I think it is 7 years. I'm going to verify that. It might have changed recently. That's why I'm looking. Give me 1 second. I'm just verifying that. I try to keep up to date. Yeah, 7 years. Generally listed 1 to 2 years. Core medical professional stays up to 7 years. So 7 years. So your medical records for the past 7 years, they check all of that. Like most life insurance companies outside of a guaranteed issue company will check your medical information bureau report. The guaranteed issue companies are the ones with a 2-year waiting period or 3-year waiting period, like Colonial Penn. So they don't ask any medical questions. They don't check your medical information bureau report. If you die of natural causes in the first 2 years, then your family gets the money you paid in plus 7 to 10%. If you die, if it's an accident in the first 2 years, then your family gets the full face amount. But just be aware of that when you're looking as well. Colonial Penn doesn't advertise that that type of insurance is best suited for people who have major health issues. I mean, if you can qualify for day one coverage, I think you should get day one coverage. Like if you've got serious health issues, unfortunately, some people do have to get guaranteed issue policies. This is par for the course, but I think they should know what they're getting. And also, if you're looking for guaranteed issue policies, Colonial Penn's a good company, don't get me wrong, but I think there are companies out there that are less expensive than Colonial Penn. All right, let's see. Life insurance recommendations. Get it. What's a really good life insurance policy? One that you have. Currently looking for a term policy that won't break on our home. Okay, well here. Let's see. Currently looking for a term policy that won't break the bank. What are we got here? How old are they? They are fairly. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and send Kim. Hey Kim. All right, I just sent Kim a message. And hopefully she will get that. She was asking about the best term policy, and if you've watched any of this, banner term. I can't say that enough. Also, if you have kids, you absolutely should get life insurance. There's no exceptions in my book on that front. Kids under 18, you should absolutely have life insurance in place. Oh, Lulu's back. Hey, Miss Lulu. Hopefully you guys have arrived at your destination. I look at my company. Primaria paid out $300 death claim. Okay, yeah, they should pay out death claims. Oh, hey, Lulu. Are you guys at your destination? Oh, looks like I lost you again there, Lulu. Okay. Well, welcome back, Miss Lulu. You were close. Good, good. I think Danny will be excited to see her sister, and hopefully you guys can have some fun tonight. Maybe watch some movies or something. What are you doing? I am just still talking about life insurance there, Lulu. Same old stuff. Got some dogs over here somewhere, though. All right, I just helped a young man with over 500,000 life insurance outside of his job for 83 a month. I think the young man got overcharged on that one. What are you guys doing? You still on the bus? Almost there. All right, yes, life insurance policy. Okay. You and Danny aren't causing any trouble on the bus, right? Oh, that looks like my phone's almost dying here. I don't know if I can switch over on here. Oh, Lulu, you dropped out again, huh? Oh, this job about 10 years, give or take. I just started recently going online, trying to help people out a little bit. It is a nightmare if they're looking online just because of all the spam calls and everything. So that's why I'm doing this, to try to give people an option. But I'm not sure how to get the views on it. You know, it's not really an interesting topic for most people. Yeah, my primary focus is people that have kids under 18. So, like, those are the ones I think that should have life insurance almost no matter what. Just because they're so. It could be financially devastating if they lose a parent or lose an income at the same time. Yeah, I like it. I enjoy it. Also, I work with a lot of senior citizens too. They're good. I like to help them out just because they get harassed nonstop. Like they get phone call after phone call after phone call, spam, pressure, and so I like helping them out where I can either get them a policy or point them in the right direction as opposed to them getting the phone calls all the time. I think I'm gonna have to. I think my phone's gonna die out here at some point. I might go live from the PC a little bit later, but Do I like it? Yeah, I love it. It's fun. I like I said, my favorite part is the getting parents with kids under 18 policies. I think that's my passion in it. Like if somebody can have passion in life insurance, that would be it. But yeah, I enjoy it. I get to work from home. I get to hang out with my dogs. I think that it's something people should have. Yeah, I enjoy it. It's better than working at the bank. I used to work at corporate America, and that really wasn't my style. There were just too many meetings, too much jargon. So this is much better. I can actually see it benefiting people. So I cannot complain. All right. Oh, we got another person here. Welcome to the channel, person number 2. Hope you're having a great day. If you have any questions about life insurance, I was just going over a few here and chatting with my friend Lulu. You can ask any question you want. Say hi. Saying hi is free. In fact, I checked. There's no charge on that. All right, I guess I can continue with the mailbag. See what we have here. What do we have? Any more questions from email? A lot of this is like best life insurance companies and it really depends on your situation. I really believe Banner Term is the best term life insurance policy or carrier. And Mutual Omaha is the best final expense, barring any medical illnesses or anything. Let's see. I think I have reached the end of the mailbag. So, do you like it? Yeah, I do. And person number 2, do you have any questions? You just want to say hi? Or do you have any questions about life insurance, life? I've got some dogs. I can answer questions about those as well. So feel free to chime in. And you left. Okay, well that's fine too. A lot of people are shy. A lot of introverts. Which isn't necessarily a bad thing. Which means they have a healthy distrust of people, which, I don't think that is a bad thing in and of itself. Oh, let's see. Miss Lulu is back. Hello again, Miss Lulu. What's my favorite dog breed? I like the Goberians. The Goberians that's what Karma and Maverick are. They are by far the best 2 dogs I've ever had. And I've had some great dogs, so. Let's have a thing here. Favorite drinks? Monster. Monster are my favorite drinks. Those are my absolute favorite drinks. Monster energy drinks. Can't go wrong with them. Although I should cut back. I know I should cut back, but they will get you going. Coffee's also good too. I mean, if you like coffee. Yeah, coffee, Monster. You need a lot of energy, like a lot of pep. You're just going in and out, Lulu. I guess it's the bus. It's got some bad reception. Oh, welcome back, Lulu. Oh. You're not going to believe this, Lulu, but it might actually rain here now. It looks like it's going to rain. It's very, it's going to be great. Might actually cool down. Hey Siri, is it going to rain? All right, it says 50%, and I've been fooled before, all right? It says there's a 50% chance of rain. It looks like it's going to rain outside. I've been conned before where it looked like it was going to pour, but it didn't. So, but I've got faith this will be the time we get the rain. This is going to be it. Let's see. What is this one? Yeah, I'm sorry. Sorry, I have to go, but I will talk tomorrow. Okay, yeah, Lulu, enjoy your time with Danny and Danny's sister, and I will talk to you tomorrow. I'll be online tomorrow, and until then, thanks a lot for joining. As always, you are a pleasure. We'll talk with you later. Bye bye, Danny. Or Lulu. I'm sorry, Lulu. Bye, Lulu. Okay. And I think my phone's about to die anyway.